So Ryan, could you share with us some more details on how to how to differentiate our quality product at the end of completion?
So we have to begin with the end in mind. So what we have today is a real successful example of what our end quality ought to look like. And so we're really proud of that and excited about that. But it begins in the early stages of the paint process and the paint prime stage. And so in paint prime, prior to, there's a preparatory phase. We have to prep. What are we prepping for? Well, we're prepping for a couple of key basic things. One is the nail holes. We're going to make sure that the nail holes and any sort of trim or basically any debris or loose debris in there with a 5-way tool is removed. We have to make sure that it's filled with either wood filler or painter's putty, or Crawford's putty is what we call out in our paint quality standards. And so that's been a proven product over time, and so we have to make sure that the proper filling of the nail holes is done prior to the paint prime process. Then what we want to make sure of is that the caulking is sufficient. Caulking can be done either before, as long as it's dry, the paint prime process, or even after paint prime the caulking can be done. But what we want to avoid is sort of a cracking or an alligator of the caulk. And so to the best of the painter's ability, depending upon the schedule, we want to make sure that the caulking is done absolutely by the time of interior paint complete. That's part of the process. It's a prerequisite to proceed. It's absolutely required. But where it's done, before paint prime or after, that's up to the painter. Every painter is a little bit different in that. And then one of the other important items is debris in the paint. So we've had a long focus. We've sent out a few hot spots, and so what that means to have debris in the paint is usually not here in the, we'll call it the midsection of the wall, but towards the base. What we have seen in the past is there'd be, we have to, every trade is responsible for broom sweeping the house after they're done or completion with their phase of work, whether it be the flooring team or the folks who do framing or electrical or cabinet installation. Whoever you are, you're responsible for broom sweeping the house prior to leaving the job site every single work day. Cleanliness is quality at True Homes and Supply Chain. And so to that end, there's a particular focus on the debris in the baseboards and debris in the wall paint. And so what we do at End Quality is we're going to finish here at the model. We're going to take a look at the finish by feeling how smooth it is. And so you can tell that there's a gritty look or feel to it. That's not part of the end quality. That's what we're looking to avoid. Once it gets past sort of the stage where we can't fix it anymore, it kind of goes back, we have to replace the baseboard. And so it goes back to that 1-10-100 rule, where if you took it and took it and addressed the issue, if there's debris in the paint, it may only cost you, let's say, $1. But if you waited way past paint prime and now you're into interior paint complete, it's going to cost you $10. And now here you are. If we don't notice until we get to the turnover day after QC7, builder blue tape, after that doesn't get noticed until NHO, and now the homeowner's upset because they noticed the debris in the paint. Now we're at 100. So it's the sort of a 1-10-100 rule. This is something that every builder out in the field has, and every trade partner, painter, has to place a great emphasis on. We've now mandated, there's a couple techniques to go ahead and take care of that. What we can do is we can put some water down to make sure any sort of loose debris and dust is controlled. No matter how hard you broom sweep it, broom sweeping may not simply be enough. And so we've recognized that fact. And so some best practices is to put some water down, sort of with a 5-gallon bucket or pump. You can go ahead and spray it. It takes about 10 minutes. But what we've found to be most successful is taking 20 minutes to go between 18 and 24 inches from the baseboard and go ahead and shop vac every wall that's throughout the house. And so we've shown and proven that that has actually been the most successful technique, and as part of our paint quality standards is to have a shop vac on site before you paint prime, and you go ahead and get all that debris removed. Now if you come this way, we can kind of show the staircase where the skirt board is really the area that's most prone to having debris in the paint. What ends up happening going from the first floor to the second floor, we have a buildup of debris in every one of the staircases, and the debris is caught sort of in the treads and right where it meets the skirt and sort of these areas. And so what we're looking to do is, as I'm putting my hand along the skirt board, I can tell it's a smooth finish. There's no debris in the baseboard, and there's no debris in the wall between the handrail and the wall. And so it's very important to pay close attention to that. This is something that every builder should be doing basically at the paint prime process, right before ideally. Every painter should be doing that themselves. But we got to make sure that there's no debris in the paint, and if there is, it's sanded out right away. We can't wait until we get to the final and paint stage and do it then. It needs to be done right away. So again, this skirt board is phenomenal. It's smooth, feels like glass, and the wall, it's been back rolled, so there's a texture to it like it's supposed to, but it has the same texture and feel as it does all the way up the wall.
Ryan, I have a quick question for you. As you're describing the different techniques to remove the debris away from the walls, whether it be through putting water in a pump sprayer and spraying down the floor, whether it be by vacuuming, which is part of our recommended paint quality standards, how do you treat debris and dust that are in the electrical outlet boxes in the wall? Do we have a quality standard for those? Are those to be blown out, vacuumed out, brushed out?
That's actually supposed to be vacuumed out as well. So in electrical boxes, we're supposed to address that
Thank you.
by vacuuming.